And welcome back to Jeff Kanenge Live. That's right, L-I-V-E. We are live here on Citizen Television with arguably the best political tag team on TV. Professor P.L.O. Lumumba, soon to be SC as in senior counsel, and Dr. Barack Muluka. By the way, the PhD came because of the professor. He urged him to continue with those studies. Am I wrong?
That's why we need professors.
By the way, my auntie, her name is Virginia Woke Muriuki, has sent greetings to both of you.
Thank you.
Very kind.
She's on YouTube. She's all over watching you guys.
That is
Thank
very
you.
kind of
Maito.
Thank you.
Maigua.
Hey.
Gentlemen, President Ruto in Washington, D.C., not about Congo DRC, but about a health deal with Kenya. Prof, what is that about? Tell us.
You know, Jeff, we turned 62 in 2 days. And governments are established amongst men to solve certain very basic things. Health is one of them. If after 62 years, we still go to a foreign government to solve our health problem, then there is a problem.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we are told that we lose about 3 billion on a daily basis. And the tragedy is not that friends of goodwill cannot be useful to us. The tragedy is that on a matter as grand as that, I've not had my National Assembly debated, I've not had my senators debated, I've not had the Kenyan people involved, I've not had the details. When I find myself as a patriot of this nation, no matter how good the deal is, I will ask, why were we not involved?
Yeah.
What does it entail? What are the details? I want to be involved as an engaged citizen.
Prof, they always say the devil is in the details.
Absolutely, and the devil resides there, and is very dangerous when she resides.
Dr. Ari, do you agree with that? I mean, what's in it for Kenya? I don't see what's in it for Kenya.
You know, the Americans themselves have told us that there's no free lunch. We are talking about 1.6 billion USD.
Yes.
How many lunches are those? Free? In exchange for what? And I agree with the professor here completely that these are things that we ought to have been appraised of before President William Ruto went to the United States. I don't think that he just landed there and the documents were suddenly placed before him. Yeah. Presto, signature. This must have been an ongoing conversation. And I had the cabinet secretary in charge of the treasury saying, oh, these things are so important, we are not going to discuss them with the Kenyans before taking them to the United States for signature. You begin wondering what all this notion of public participation is about, what this whole notion of representation of the people by the people's leaders in the legislature is about. And were it that we had a government that is listening, the conversation we are having today should have preceded the signing of the agreement. Yeah. But we're talking about individuals who must be driven by other energies, other agendas, other than the agendas that they talk about. And so those agendas drive them permanently in the space of firefighting. We probably could have built some consensus, we could have seen some sense. So there's absence of accountability, total contempt for the people, and of course, legislators who are held captive and who have allowed themselves to be held captive by the executive and therefore who do not interrogate these matters at all.
By the way, let me not leave Washington, D.C. yet without mentioning the fact that, Prof, President Trump attacking the Somalis. He calls them Somalians. There's no such word. It's Somalis. But, you know, he called them garbage. He called them...
He said worse things.
Yes.
About our country.
Can you imagine? Assholes.
You know, when you listen to the president of the country that calls itself the leader of the free world, using words and language that is completely unpalatable about a whole nation. The Somali nation is a nation that is to be found in different territories in the continent of Africa. And if there are a few individuals within that nation that are engaged in criminality, as there are Americans of Caucasian origin, you don't insult them in the manner that he did. But the tragedy also is our own within the continent of Africa, that we allow ourselves to be abused, that we reduce ourselves into positions where we are treated like little children. Look at the heads of state who went to the United States of America. They were treated like little children. They were treated like high school children huddled in some corner and being talked down to.
Yes.
Why? Because if you behave as if you are inferior, you'll be treated like an inferior. And many of the things that we are having to withstand from the United States of America and Europe is because we have not made our countries work.
Yeah. By the way, Trump and Ramaphosa, Cyril Ramaphosa, remember?
Yes, I remember the Cyril thing.
Yes, he talked down to him.
Absolutely.
And he said he's not going to attend the G20.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, you're right. You're talking down to these people.
Absolutely. But those who call themselves African leaders must also ask themselves, why are they treated that way? They are summoned, literally summoned to Washington, D.C. And paradoxically and ironically at once, they hire private jets to go to the United States of America, and then they go there and they are given crumbs. The party is on the table, they are under the table, and when our leaders are treated with contempt, the President of the United States must ask, if I can treat them with contempt, what value do I attach to the people that they lead? Yeah. There is a time, it is time, if you want to get anything positive about that mistreatment, African politicians must come home and say, why can't we solve our problems? Why can't we solve our agriculture problems? Why can't we solve our health problems? Why can't we solve our education problems? We have the resources. Why can't we do it? We have the capacity, we have the ability. And look at the people that we elect to lead us in parliament. The Kenyan parliament, for example, no longer debates. All debates are carried out at funerals.
Yep.
And from church pulpits.
Sad.
Nothing. And that is the situation in which we find ourselves. And I've said it many times before, what we are running in many African countries are kakistocracies, governments of some of our very worst, with a few exceptions.
Dr. Ari, coming back to this health deal, right? Already there are several petitions in court. One of them, including one from Okia Mtata, Senator, and Kofek as well. What do we expect from that?
I think the courts have been doing great work. The judiciary remains the last firewall against misrule, and the highest votary for the rule of law, for the consent of the governed, and for accountability to the governed. Government essentially is about organizing the polity being the nation state, about the resources within the polity, about the opportunities within the polity, and about the people and the relationship that they have with each other and with those opportunities and the resources. And so there is accountability. We can go right back to the origins of liberal democracy that we pretend to practice around here and ask ourselves in the first place, do we have the consent of the governed? And the answer virtually across the continent is that the consent of the governed is not there. You look at the recent by-elections in different parts of the country, you look at the amount of monies that were poured, the bribery that took place, the intimidation, the beatings, the harassment. Do you call that consent of the governed? You look at Tanzania across the border here, do you call that consent of the governed? And so when these characters have gotten into the echelons of power, they do not see themselves as being accountable to the citizens. They will therefore go out there and get into all manner of farcical agreements. They know what is in it for them, but we don't know what is in it for us as a nation.
Yeah.
And therefore, it is good that we still have an institution that is trying. I know that it may not be a perfect institution. There are those who do not believe in this judiciary. I'm sure my good friend, the Grand Mullah, is watching, and he doesn't agree.
Yeah.
But we still have a judiciary that has thrown out a lot of unconstitutional laws, a lot of unconstitutional activities that have been engaged in by the executive, by the legislature. And so I believe that there is a lot of merit in waiting to see how the judiciary handles this particular.
Absolutely. Prof, politically and diplomatically, what's in it for President Ruto, this health deal? What's in it for him?
So there was a period after the Biden administration when it appeared that Kenya had been ostracized. And this deal, from where I sit, appears to be a rapprochement that Kenya is once again the country that is looked as the one to be dealt with in the context of geopolitics. So it is a rehabilitation. And for a president who is waiting to contest an election in 2027, to be seen to be the blue-eyed boy, to use the metaphor of the most powerful nation in the Western Hemisphere, there is a sense in which this is being treated as a rehabilitation of Kenya, and by extension, the President of the Republic of Kenya. And I think that is why we are signing it gleefully. That is why you hear the Cabinet Secretary for the time being in charge of the Treasury say that it's so important that Kenyans must not be involved. I've never heard anything like that, that you are discussing things on our behalf, and you say it is so important that you ought not to discuss it with us. And that tells you that our political leadership finds it more useful to be good to outsiders rather than to be good to Kenyans. And that is a tragedy of gigantic proportions.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, there's a word you just used right there, Prof. It's
Rapprochement.
Maridhiano kwa Kiswahili.
I gotta look that up. I gotta look that up, folks. I should have told you guys. I should have warned you.
Yeah.
Get your dictionary.
Yeah.
Get your thesaurus.
Yeah.
Get your Wikipedia. We're gonna take a break. Come back. Talk about you touched on it a little bit, Doc. By-elections. What a mess.
What a mess.
What a mess. Oh, Safaricom. How does the government sell 15% of his stake?
The same secretary in charge of the Treasury, saying it's so important that we should not know about it.
Don't forget about Kenya Pipeline. Jeez.
This is is it 2018 or the 1908? Is this deja vu? You remember the days when we had structural adjustment, when the IMF and the World Bank came and said, you sell everything on earth.
Please.
We are in those dark days.
Yeah, but the difference was that actually the state was selling. But now,
it's individuals.
Hidden hand.
Hidden hand. It's deja vu all over again.
Acquisitive individuals.
Absolutely. Let's take a break, folks. Plenty more ahead. Stay tuned. Keep tweeting at Kwenanga Jeff, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag JKL Live. JKL Live takes a break. We'll be back in a moment.